Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Would you please be upstanding for the arrival of our official guests? Acting Deputy Commissioner Paul Stewart, APM, representing Commissioner Ian Stewart, APM, Queensland Police Service. Ms Nikki Boyd, MP, Member for Pine Rivers, representing the Honourable Anastasia Palaszczuk, MP, Premier of Queensland and Minister for the Arts. Mr Scott Emerson, MP, Shadow Minister for Transport, Member for Indooroopilly, representing Mr Lawrence Springborg, MP, Leader of the Opposition, Liberal National Party of Queensland. And Mr Raymond Young, OAM, representing Associate Professor John Harden, AM, Chairman, the Order of Australia Association, Queensland Division. Ladies and gentlemen, please join with me in welcoming our official guests. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please stand for the arrival of our Governor, His Excellency Paul de Jersey, and his wife, Mrs de Jersey. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. Your Excellency, with your permission, I'll begin.
Yes, please.
His Excellency the Governor will present the following honours and awards. Appointed a Member of the Order of Australia in the General Division, Dr Ross Stewart Dunn, for significant service to dentistry as a clinician, to public dental health initiatives in developing countries, including more than 2 decades as both organiser and volunteer in Timor-Leste, Cambodia, Africa and Bangladesh, and to professional dental organisations in Australia. Mr Michael Desmond Vivas, for significant service to sport over many years, particularly to rugby league as a player, patron and commentator, to the community of the Gold Coast through committee membership, and to the Parliament of Queensland for over 14 years as the member for Southport. Awarded the Public Service Medal, Mr Dennis Russell Bird, for outstanding public service to Queensland state development, implementing service delivery initiatives for small to medium businesses, setting foundations for the development of new industries, and negotiating vital links between government and the resource sector. Awarded the Australian Police Medal, Assistant Commissioner Maurice James Kalis, for dedicated service as a police officer, notably in child protection, working throughout the state as well as in the United Kingdom. Chief Superintendent Shane Leslie Shalepi, for dedicated and effective leadership and management as a police officer in South East Queensland, particularly through the State Water Police and through specialist services and counter-terrorism policy and exercises, notably in relation to the G20 meeting in Brisbane in 2015. Inspector Joanne Henderson, for exceptional service, leadership and professionalism in operational, training and corporate positions in both non-commissioned and commissioned roles in the Queensland Police Service, particularly in child protection and in the development of online training and the provision of executive support. Senior Constable Neil William McShane, for professionalism, leadership and commitment to policing in both Victoria and Queensland, particularly in regional and remote areas of Queensland and in search and rescue operations. Chief Superintendent Martin Robert Mickelson, for leadership, professionalism and dedicated service as a Queensland police officer, particularly in plainclothes policing and surveillance, including development of the Queensland Police Intelligence Network, developing and implementing telephone inception capability for the service, and policing during G20. Sergeant Linda Michelle Smith, for leadership and professionalism in policing, particularly in rural and remote areas of Queensland, and notably in establishing the Longreach Police Prosecution Corps. awarded the Medal of the Order of Australia in the General Division, Mr Douglas Bevan Ambrose, for service to primary education in Queensland as a teacher in regional and remote schools, notably as principal of Bundaberg East State School since 1992, and for contributions to the Queensland Association of School Principals. Mr Raymond Richard Ashford, for commitment and voluntary service to the tourism industry in southeast Queensland, notably in relation to Queensland pioneering heritage, vintage vehicles and Clydesdale horses, and as a member of the Crow's Nest and District Tourist and Progress Association since 1993. Mr Frank Morris Benjamin, for contributions to the merino sheep industry in Queensland through membership of the Queensland Merino Stud Breeders Association, including terms as chairman and secretary, and through many years' service as chief steward of the Royal Agricultural Society of Queensland in Toowoomba. Mr Alastair Robert Gow, for service to the funeral industry as Director of Alex Gow Funerals since 1977, and through membership and leadership in professional associations in the funeral industry, and to the community of Ashgrove The Gap, particularly through Lions International and Probus. Mr Terence Ben Hutchings, for service to Olympic sport in Australia and New Zealand, particularly as a coach in canoeing and kayaking since 1984, and to surf lifesaving through membership of clubs since 1952, and through lifelong participation in sport. Mr Donald Jones, for service to veterans and their families through membership of the Return and Services League of Australia in the Wide Bay region, as well as leadership and advocacy, and through active support of the Mungar and Maryborough West State schools. Mr. Howard Russell Marr, for service to the veteran community of Tweed Heads through membership and leadership roles in the 53rd Composite AA Regimental Association and through active membership of the Return and Services League of Australia, Royal Australian Artillery and Veterans Affairs Network. Mr. Raymond John McDonough, for service to veterans and their families and to the community through leadership roles in the Kyogle sub-branch of the Return and Services League of Australia, the 51st Battalion Royal New South Wales Regiment Association, Kyogle Legacy and Kyogle and District Care Connections. Mrs. Lizanne Margaret Smith, for more than 30 years service in music education as a teacher at Cairns State High School and as a committee member of the Music Teachers Association of Queensland and to the performing arts through community musical organisations in Cairns. Mrs. Jean Elsie Sawley, for service to local government as a Wombo Shire Councillor and to the community of the Western Downs through membership and leadership of numerous volunteer organisations, including the Bell and District Art Group and since 1958, the Bell Show Society. Mr. Wallace John Taylor, for service to the information technology sector in South Africa and Australia, to rural development in Central Queensland through the Department of Primary Industries and other entities, and to the community through Lions and Rotary International in Australia and in South Africa. Dr. Michael Leo Tierney, for service to Rugby League as a football club secretary and as a member of the board of Queensland Rugby League, and to dairy and beef cattle production through industry associations and as honorary steward at the Royal Queensland Show. Dr. Edward William Weaver, for service to medicine, particularly in the fields of obstetrics and gynaecology in Nambour, and to medical education through the University of Queensland School of Medicine, the Queensland Training and Accreditation Committee, and as an expert advisor to the Civil and Administrative Appeals Tribunal. Your Excellency, that concludes today's awards. Could I now invite you to address the recipients and their guests?
Ms Nikki Boyd and Mr Scott Emerson, representing the Premier and the Leader of the Opposition respectively, official guests, our esteemed recipients, their proud families and friends. Good afternoon to you all, and a very warm welcome to you to Government House and to this investiture ceremony. Investiture is an ancient word which first came into the English language in the 14th century when feudal lords bestowed fiefdoms or other rights and entitlements on their favoured subjects. Today's honours and awards, I'm afraid, do not come with rights to land or serfs to work upon it. And you, ladies and gentlemen, certainly do not, in exchange, become vassals who have to go into battle on command. However, the link with the medieval origins of the word has not entirely disappeared. First, each of you has received an award today which symbolises the gratitude and thanks of your nation for the contribution which you have made to Australia. Second, the award comes with an expectation, even an implicit obligation, that as a recipient you will do your utmost to uphold the integrity of the Australian honours system. In that sense, you are going into battle, but it is the battle for reputation. The Australian honours system, you see, is respected and copied throughout the world because of its integrity, its impartiality, and the egalitarianism of its process. And it is unique also in that any person can nominate any other person for an award within the order. Some of you here today will know or suspect who may have nominated you, but none of you will ever know how many people have been approached to provide confidential comment as to why or why not an award should be given. That net of inquiry, I can assure you, is spread very widely and with great probity by the Honours Secretariat in the Office of the Governor-General in Canberra and by the Directorate of Honours and Awards in the Department of Defence. No honour is granted automatically. No award is influenced by political or personal pressure, and there are regulations which ensure that confidentiality is strictly observed. Of course, this doesn't mean that you need to be suspicious of every past or present colleague, friend or family member. Your being here today for this ceremony is evidence that they have provided absolutely full support for your nomination, and whether they are here as one of your guests or will remain unknown to you, I'm sure they join me in congratulating and thanking you for the contribution you have made. Today's recipients, as you've heard, are remarkable men and women. Collectively, they have made an exceptional contribution to our nation, and Australian society has been greatly enriched by both their commitment and their dedication. As Governor, I am privileged to speak on behalf of all Queenslanders, and in that capacity, it gives me great pleasure to congratulate all of today's recipients on their fine achievement. There is one further piece of advice I would offer. Please wear your lapel pin as often as possible and your ribbon and badge when circumstances permit. That's not a sign of boastfulness or hubris. It's a symbol and a way of acknowledging those who nominated and supported you, but it is also an important way to promote the honours system and to encourage others to nominate colleagues, friends and family members. And as today's ceremony is being, as they say, live streamed, I encourage you to wear that with pride. Please enjoy this afternoon's hospitality as a token of our gratitude, and my wife Kay joins me in that invitation. And I trust you may also take the time to meet Fernberg's latest addition, Police Recruit Dog Gavel. Thank you all.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand for the Governor's departure? Your Excellency, could I invite you and Mrs. De Jersey to retire for a few moments while we organise the recipients for a photo?